Hello, everyone. It's time for the preview panel. But I'm not going to be the one hosting it because we have the perfect person to do it. He is the principal designer at Magic the Gathering. So I want to hear you cheer for Gavin Verrey. Take it away.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the MagicCon Amsterdam preview panel. We're so excited to have you. We've got some really cool stuff to show off today. My name is Gavin Verhey. I'm a principal game designer at Wizards of the Coast, which means I help make all of these cardboard rectangles that you enjoy playing with so much. We've got some really cool stuff to talk to you about today. Who out there is excited for Bloomburrow? All right. Who is excited for Duskmourn? Both pretty exciting. Who's excited for secret new things I haven't even told you about yet? Well, that one got the loudest cheer. So how about we start right there with something called Magic the Gathering Foundations. Something brand new. And to help talk about what this is, I would like to welcome to the stage Max McCall and Brian Hawley. Let's give them a big round of applause right here as they come on out. All right, so exciting to have you all here. So Magic the Gathering Foundation is really cool. First of all, though, tell us about what you do at Wizards of the Coast so we understand. Brian, you can go first.
Hey, Gavin. I'm the game design director for Magic. But for this set, I got to take off that hat and put on the hat of lead set designer for Magic the Gathering Foundations.
Very cool. And how about you, Max?
I'm one of the executive producers for Magic the Gathering, so responsible for Foundations being awesome and successful.
Very cool. So Magic the Gathering Foundations is a brand new standard legal set. It's really exciting. Max, what is it? Fill us in on what we're doing here.
Yeah, so Foundations is a set that just is building the foundations for the next era of Magic. So it's a full Magic set, play boosters, collectors, the whole 9 yards, built as what the set Magic the Gathering would be. So it's a set that's useful for anyone, no matter where you are on your journey throughout Magic.
And it's going to be totally standard legal, right?
Totally standard legal. In fact, because of the cornerstone of this next era of Magic, it's going to be legal through at least 2029. So it's going to be standard legal for many years.
So is it sort of like a core set or something then that's around, but around longer?
So kind of, but not really. So one of the things about core sets that we've done in the past was they were useful for new players who were coming into Magic. But a lot of the cards are just less useful for people who already play Magic, know how to play, and just want more cards for the decks that are fun, right? And so Foundations has cards that are new and useful for you when you're learning Magic, but those cards are in products for people who are learning Magic. And so all of the cool cards are in booster packs.
Right, so there'll be a few different products, and booster packs are one of the mini products available in Foundation.
Right, correct.
Okay, so what are some of the cards we can expect here? I mean, maybe we should show them some preview cards or something to get an idea of what's in Magic the Gathering Foundations? I think I want to see some preview cards, Max.
I think a picture might be worth 1,000 words or so.
Let's show up what preview card right here that I think you'll recognize. Pretty exciting one here on the screen.
Right.
Tell us about this.
Yeah, so Land of Werewolves is back, right? And so this goes back to what I was saying about the set being legal and standard for longer, right? So Foundations is full of cards that you'll be using for the next several years across Tournament Magic. Land of Werewolves is back to be one of the elemental cards for such formats. We have another card they might be interested in.
Yeah, I guess second card? All right, so of course you've got Land of Werewolves lying around, a nice creature to accelerate you. It's a cornerstone of Magic. It'll be around in standard for a long time. Also, sometimes your Land of Werewolves will die to a card like this one, perhaps. Let's put it up on screen here. They have Judgment back in standard 4-mana board sweepers on the menu, Max.
Yeah. For when Land of Werewolves gets a little out of hand, we have all of the creatures can go straight to the graveyard.
I remember you telling me that kind of this was a set that felt like if you were making a set just called Magic the Gathering, that's what it was. These were kind of some of the cards you would put into this set.
Right, yeah. Like, what are the cards that have the kind of clean, simple elegance that will echo throughout the rest of Magic's history?
Yeah, so there's these and many other cool reprints. Now, Max, you were the lead designer for this set. Talk to me a little bit about the design philosophy you used to guide you. Or sorry, Brian, excuse me. You were the lead designer for this set. Tell us about the design philosophy you used to guide us for this set.
Yeah, so as Max referenced, this is a new evolution of how we are approaching learn-to-play products for Magic. The focus here is similar, but different in some really key ways from our previous explorations in that. And it is really, really focused on showing new players why Magic is awesome, helping them find what is cool about Magic, and while doing all of that, keeping it fun for the veterans, the players that are teaching them and bringing them into the game. The set is something we've wanted to make for 5 years, 10 years. Something in the space of, we called it an evergreen core set way back in the day. It's kind of evolved and changed and grown since then into what it is now. It has the most robust learn-to-play experience we've ever made, which, as Max mentioned, kind of contains a lot of those cards that are really useful in your first 10 games of Magic, but rapidly drop off as you kind of grow out into the broader Magic ecosystem. We didn't set out with any particular ratio of how many reprints, how many new cards should be in this. We started from, if there is an existing Magic card that we think is just perfect for the job, we would use that.
Well, and we might have such a perfect Magic card to show you here now. This is a card that doesn't have a lot of words on it, but is quite powerful. Should we show you another preview card? Here is a card that is back in Magic the Gathering Foundations. Quite the mythic rare, Brian, wouldn't you say?
It is. One of the things that we focused on a lot is elegance, simplicity, approachability. We're not focused purely on just having the minimum amount of words on cards, though the set does have fewer words and a lower complexity level than most sets in Standard. But we're really focused on how do we get the maximum excitement and the maximum enjoyment from very clean cards that people just see and they get.
Right, and Omniscience is a great example of that, right? You see this card and you're like, that looks awesome, because it is. Omniscience is awesome, and now it's going to be legal and Standard for a long time, so you can go ahead and build some pretty wild decks. But there's not just returning cards, right? There's also a bunch of new cards in this set. What was kind of your philosophy for these new card designs?
Similar to what I was describing previously, we wanted to focus on fun, clean Magic. We were not shy about riffing on previously beloved Magic cards when we were making new ones. The main set is about 50% reprints and about 50% new cards. And when we were making new cards, we drove that same kind of guiding light of just show why Magic is really cool.
And so the next preview card is one where when I saw it, if I didn't know we hadn't made it before, I'd be like, yeah, this card clearly exists, but it doesn't quite exist like this. Let's put the next card up on the screen. It's a pretty exciting one. The rate here is quite an exciting line. Nice little anthem here.
It is. So this draws on a long line of Magic cards from Glorious Anthem way back in the day, and it brings it up to kind of the new era of Magic.
Now, one thing you'll see here around the edges is it's got the enchantment frame on it. We often see on enchantment creatures. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on there?
It does. So one of the things we looked at with Foundations is if there were any quality of life improvements, any kind of small improvements we could make to how we present Magic, how we show Magic to players. And commonly known as the Nyx frame. This frame is a visual cue that we've used on enchantment creatures for a long time to distinguish them from other creatures. Starting with Foundations and going forward, we will also use this on non-creature enchantments.
Very, very cool.
We didn't set out to kind of massively overhaul Magic's rule set in the way that Magic 2010 did, but we did look for places like this where we could just make small improvements to kind of help the game just be a little bit more approachable.
Fantastic. So one thing you know when you look at cards we try and make in these sets is not only can they be simple with lines of words, lines of rules text, but also very approachable, very understandable, very top-down design. Do you want to talk about kind of the space top-down cards had in this set, and then maybe we'll show them one after that?
Absolutely. So, I mean, as we know, that there are a lot of different types of complexity, but one of the things that really helps players understand something, even if it has quite a few words to describe the real, nitty-gritty of how the rules work around it, is resonance, flavor, and top-downs really help you understand and just see the card. And even if it may have more words on it, just be like, oh, I get it. That's what it does.
Well, let's show a card that I think fits that bill very nicely. I know this is one of your favorites in the set, Max. Talk to me about the card that we're going to put up here, and Brian, too. Both of you are very exciting. Let's put it up on the screen, 9 Lives Familiar. Here's a cute little cat that just keeps coming back and back and back. Both of you tell me about your feelings on this card.
So this card draws on an age-old trope, the cat with 9 lives. It's something that kind of puts our spin on it, and it's something where we find that just that top-down flavor really helps show off like what is cool about this card. You kind of get what it does. And then it starts getting the wheels turning of like, how are you going to use this? I'm going to sacrifice this 9 times. It's going to block 9 times. What's going to happen?
Yeah, you like cards like this as well.
Yeah. I mean, I just enjoy making cat noises, so casting can be like, meow. But yeah, the amount of value you can get out of a card like this is tremendous. There's lots of different ways you can build decks. It's really exciting.
Now, when you look at a set like this, of course you want to give it the full collectability treatment, right?
Yeah, of course. So a lot of the booster fun in Foundations features the borderless treatment. So the borderless is both my favorite, but it's also the same kind of like classic, timeless look and sort of appeal that everyone loves. And so the booster fun versions of these, like first we have extended art versions, which you can see here on our next slide. But then also we've brought new borderless art for dozens of the cards in the set, which you can see on the next slide, for both of the new cards and the reprints. And so here's Omniscience, 9 Lives Familiar, and Anthem of Champions in their full glory.
A lot of exciting murmurs from the crowd there at the gorgeous new art pieces here for these cards. So
Yeah.
it's pretty stellar stuff.
These are great.
Now, what kind of worlds, Max, will we find here in Foundations? Is there like a specific world we're focusing on, or kind of a wide breadth of Magic?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what we were thinking was that we want Magic is for everyone. Everyone has a different favorite thing that they love about Magic, and we wanted to take the same approach to all the worlds and Foundations. So there's a little slice from all of your favorite planes. So if you like cards from Kamigawa, great. Cards from Theros, cards from Ikoria, cards from Zendikar, from Ravnica. There's a little something for everything, and then, of course, once you find out what Magic plane really speaks to you, then there's, of course, plenty of cards from there to jump down for those sets.
And going back to that kind of previous sort of collective experience, the flavor of the set is kind of drawing on the collective experience of all Magic players, and that kind of like breadth and kind of implication of kind of tantalizing depth of like how deep and wide Magic can go in its lore, with each creative piece and each card being individually kind of approachable and understandable, was really core to both the creative and the game design.
Can you give us any hints at maybe things we might be seeing in Foundations?
Yeah, I mean, so plenty of folks' favorite characters will return. I might be able to give you a small clue about some of those characters, like a tiny hint as to who might be there. You know, there's some characters who are extremely hot, temperature, flames, etc.
Could be anybody, really.
Really, there's so many people that qualify under that. Yeah, a lot of folks' favorite characters are coming back. These are people for whom, you know, they've been a touchstone of Magic for a long time. They'll be the same thing going forward.
So will we see Planeswalkers?
Yes, there's 5 new Planeswalkers. There's characters you've seen before, characters who you'll be seeing in a new light, and characters who are like, yes, you're back and better than ever.
And I will mention that similar to how the creative is kind of spread across the planes of Magic, the creative is also spread across timelines of Magic. It is not specific to one point in time. This is trying to be very timeless. And like the rest of the set, the 5 Planeswalkers are a mix of new and returning cards, but all of the characters are well known and beloved.
Right. Well, very exciting. Magic: The Gathering Foundations. Now, when will this be hitting?
So release is November 15th. The full booster suite, there's a Jumpstart experience with it. There's some of those new player products. Everything will be out November 15th.
Very exciting. And standard legal, once
Standard
again,
legal,
right?
Yep, absolutely.
Brian, as lead designer, anything you want to share really fast before we wrap up for today?
I guess I'll mention the set is intended to be standard legal. We're describing it as semi-indefinitely. We know that times change. We know that at some point in the future, the kind of needs of the new player and the needs of the audience may shift. But through at least 2029, the set will be standard legal, and it could be for much longer than that.
Max, any final words on your end?
You know, like, Magic is my favorite game. This was a set made for people for whom it can be your favorite game too. We really hope you all enjoy it.
Awesome. We get a big round for Magic the Gathering Foundations. It is a very cool new entry into Magic the Gathering. Now we're going to play a quick little video for you as we go into the next section of our panel. Take it away, everyone backstage. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about Duskmourn. Who out there is excited for Duskmourn? Well, fortunately, I have just the people to talk about it. We've got a video, Cartagena. Who are you and what do you do at Wizards of the Coast?
My name is Oyo Cartagena. I am Senior Art Director for Magic the Gathering. I was the lead art director for Duskmourn. That means I was in charge of like the artistic vision of the set, all the textures, all the motifs. I did some concept art too. I hired many of the artists and made sure that it had the consistent look that it has, that we'll see today.
Very good. Well, up next, we've got Jadine Klemperens. What was your role here on the set?
Yeah, so I work on play design, so the very end of the process, getting all the numbers right, getting everything balanced and in good shape and executed well.
And then all the way down the line, we've got Annie Sardellis.
Hi, yeah. I'm a senior game designer who led Duskmourn Commander and Vision Design, so really early design, and Bloomburrow Commander.
Very cool. Well, let's kick it off by talking about the world of Duskmourn a little bit and what people can expect. And there's no better person to talk about that than you right here, a video. So let's dig right in. Duskmourn, what's going on?
Well, oh, there's no picture on the monitors. But Duskmourn is it's an endless mansion where you can walk forever inside of it. We're very inspired by horror media of the last 30 years, 40 years. So those who remember, back in the 80s, we used to have practical effects. We want to kind of replicate that feel. Duskmourn used to be a regular plane with environments and peoples and all kinds of things. There even used to be happiness. But an evil force took over from inside a mansion there, and it started growing into the thing. And as always, I love adding teeth and eyes to stuff to make it a little extra scary. And now the whole plane is an eternal mansion where you can go room after room. Even if you see an environment that feels like the outside, it's not really the outside. You're going to see a floating window, a doorway, a lamp, wallpaper on the floor, and things that indicate you're never truly out. And even if you planeswalk here, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get out of Duskmourn.
Yes, there's all kinds of various locations you go through outside the house. This is a mountain here. This looks totally frightening, a video.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful art by Nestor Osandon. Watch out for moths. They show up a lot in the set. It's an important symbol for the set. We'll take a look at some more stuff later, but I recommend that everyone keep their eyes peeled. This set is, the art has a lot of little details. There was a lot of attention to detail put into every piece, every illustration, leading you on, giving you clues about what's going on, and making you a little scared. You'll find some stuff.
Now, in that first art piece we saw a couple back ago, it was called Valgavoth. Valgavoth was in the name. What is a Valgavoth?
Valgavoth is the name of a very powerful demon in here. You'll get a chance to see the main guy, I suppose. he has exerted a lot of influence throughout the mansion.
Well, of course, every set's going to have some awesome basic lands. So we've got the 5 full art basic manor lands here in video. Do you want to talk about kind of what's going on with these lands?
Oh, yeah, the Booster Fun team, incredible work by the Booster Fun team. Beautiful lands in the style of those 80s horror posters where you see the protagonist and the environment, and in the background you see the antagonist, like the villainous force floating around. It has compressed space, bright colors, and despite the bright colors, quite dark in theme.
I love in these lands you see both, kind of the darkness, the scariness, but also a bit of optimism of these adventurers, and they're maybe trying to find something in the house.
If you're alive here, you have to be an optimist, for sure.
Or now let's see another piece of artwork here, something that is kind of new and neat. What is going on here, a video?
Well, this is going to be a new type of card. JD is going to talk about it, but it's called a room. And in the art, we were trying to evoke how you move from one space to the next. And there's contrasting ideas between the spaces. There's always kind of a division. And it was a bit of a challenge to put together. But the artists really came through with some great stuff. We're going to see some more. Actually, one of my favorites is coming up next.
Ooh, let's keep our eyes out for that.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Jadine, what can you tell us about the rooms?
So I can't share what the full mechanic is right now, but what I can say is we were making a card set about a plane that is a house. We needed some mechanical way to represent the rooms, the places you go, the things you see, and just some way to evoke that sense of exploration. We needed a way that you would see a lot of rooms in games, you would see a lot of rooms in your packs, and you would feel, as you're playing the game, like you are exploring the house.
Now, Annie, was this kind of idea of rooms there really early in design?
Oh yeah, really early on. And I think of all the mechanics, it went through the most changes of any of them. Because like you said, we want to capture what it feels like to move through a house mechanically, sort of get at that suspense and tone specific to modern horror, and tell a lot of charming top-downs. And you'll be seeing cards that touch on all of those through the presentation.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun rooms here. We'll put another one up here on the screen just to give a really full breath.
Just wanted to say something about the previous one.
The previous one, that's like your studio, right?
Yeah,
right?
That's inspired in my art studio. Not really, hopefully not. But I love this piece. We had a lot of fun with the set.
There's so many cool pieces, and really that room mechanic was there the whole way through, and these art pieces are absolutely stunning. Now let's go on to the next card art, which has a name down there in the bottom left-hand corner that might be reminiscent of some things you know in Magic. But first, a video, what are the ley lines doing here in Duskmourn?
So we do have a full cycle of ley lines. In Duskmourn, you will see what appears to be static, TV static, lost signal. But in Duskmourn, it's a gateway to the spirit world. This is where ghosts come from. This is where spirits come from. This is where you might be sucked into and never be seen again. Another added danger in the mansion. And the ley lines are the maximum expression of that.
Well, how about we see a Duskmourn preview card, one of the ley lines themselves, yeah? Very exciting. Let's put it up on screen here. Jadine, tell me about Ley Line of Hope.
So ley lines are really hard cards for us to design. The audience, you all, you know what a ley line is. And what it is something pretty challenging balance-wise. It has to exist on the battlefield at the beginning of the game and be a fun game piece that you can just not pay mana for and start the game with. So we did make a whole cycle of ley lines for this set. Very exciting. You can see Ley Line of Hope in front of you. Cares about life gain and trying to find a way to survive the house. And I just adore this concept for a ley line, just the idea of hope as something that starts the game with you. It's always there. You have it.
And then it can get naturalized maybe later on, the hope goes away.
Not my hope, Gavin.
Let's see some more awesome art from the set, because you really draws on so many, there's so many fun tropes that you drew on in this set, a video. Talk to me about some of the stuff we're seeing right here.
Listen, I cannot confirm or deny what this is. I am not at liberty to discuss. I might be a weather balloon or some swamp gas. it's classified.
Indeed, the unidentified hover ship. How about this next art piece right here?
Oh, this is what I was talking about. The ghosts. This is, I know it feels like a TV. It's not a TV, it's just a portal. And Spirits in Duskmourn took a very unique form for us from the very beginning of development. I was thinking, let's do glitch ghosts. And I was calling them that from the beginning. I think it stuck around to the end. That's how they look. They're always, because they're not exactly tuned into our universe. They're not exactly there. So the signal is a little lost, and they're a little frazzled. And it just feels like that UHF signal not correctly coming in, but they're still quite dangerous, even if not entirely present in the physical world.
Ooh, spooky. All right, on to the next art piece. Oh, this guy looks, actually, no, maybe not so much.
Oh, well, yes, everything that used to be a toy here has been morphed into some kind of monster. Eric did a great job with this piece. I didn't ask for that much scary, but he put a little bit extra in there, and I actually really like the piece.
Yeah, it turned out great, although I would not want to encounter one of these. Now, the next art piece, there's just two like harmless, little girls.
Yeah.
It's probably fine.
Yeah, they probably just want to play with you. That's all.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's going to be okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Maybe something you might use if you're trying to deal with some ghosts, perhaps?
Yes. Yeah. If you need to catch some ghosts, this is what you would use. We designed the survivors so that they have equipment that seems familiar, but the function is always something to do with the spiritual realm or weapons that they can use against all the threats here in Duskmourn.
Now let's go on to the next art piece here. And anyway, this one, it's got an amazing piece. It's super scary. Also, you see the name in the left-hand corner, Let's Play a Game. Really early on in design, I think you all came up with some of these cool card names, right?
Oh yeah, we went through all sorts of media from modern horror and picked out really classic tropes. When we start in vision design, we have this blank slate. We're like, well, what's our big white flyer? It's probably not an angel here. What does an artifact look like? What does a landscape look like? So yeah, it was really awesome to get to work in a new setting.
There's so many fun names in this set. I love Let's Play a Game. I also love this next card name right here, Threats Around Every Corner. What a cool name video. Anything about this piece you'd like to share?
Well, the equipment here is designed, it has familiar forms. We're very inspired in 80s horror, but it always has a different function. The previous art, by the way, was Magic the Gathering debut of Italian artist Riccardo Federici. I hired him specifically for this set. His work is amazing, so you're going to see a little bit more of him. What's going on here is they always use equipment to be able to see some horrors that you can't see with your naked eyes. And they'll show up in interesting ways in the card set. That's probably about all I can say about that.
So we saw Leyline of Hope earlier as a new card, and that's very hopeful, maybe you'll get out of this place. Some of the cards in this set are a little bit less that. So let's go on to the next card here. It is a preview card. Cursed Recording. Jadine, tell me about Cursed Recording.
So one of my favorite things about Duskmourn is it is just chock full of so many cool top-down cards. We started with, here's a thing you know, how do we put it on a Magic card? You're going through the house, you're desperately searching a way to escape, you're looking for anything that'll help you survive. You come across this recording. It offers you tons of power. Is there a downside on Duskmourn? Probably. So, this thing will soup up your magic. Your instants and sorceries are going to go wild, but you use that long enough, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah, don't you hate it when you pick up the phone, you hear 7 or more days?
A video, I kind of see some of that static you were talking about leaking out of that TV there in the artwork here.
Yeah, and apparently it's an enraged ghost trying to seep out. The static is spilling a little bit on the floor. And yeah, this was a very surprising, beautiful piece I received.
Yeah, so stay tuned, as the video said earlier, for all the static you'll see around. It's definitely scary stuff.
Tons of Easter eggs.
Let's go on to the next card, which is certainly a horror trope I think you'll recognize. The chainsaw. Rev it up. JD, tell me about this.
Yeah, is there anything scarier than somebody standing there menacingly with a chainsaw? probably listening to them rev it up. And, you know, the card does such a great job. It's like, it gets scarier. They rev it up, it gets stronger. You really are going to run into some trouble really quick.
I love that it uses rev counters, right? It could have used charge counters like mini artifacts, but rev counters, that's so perfect, you know? I absolutely love that. Now let's go on to the next card right here, Come Back Wrong. JD, this is a card I think you've got a fun story about, yes?
Yeah, so I actually designed this card bottom up. I started mechanically. I wanted to make a card that would be strong against powerful enters the battlefield triggers, just a removal spell that you could play against something that had already hit the board and got its value. And we put it in the file, and our wonderful creative team came up with this amazing concept for this that makes me, if I didn't know that I designed it, I would think we had made it top down to this trope. It's just a really wonderful marriage of flavor and function here.
Now, in video, we see the paranormal frame there on the right-hand side. Tell me a little bit about what's going on here.
I love that frame. It was one of the early things, as we were talking about, we were thinking about using the glitch texture to symbolize the transition into the next world. And back in the day, you could tune your TV, and there were actually ghosts in it. True story.
Let's go on to the next card. And this is a cutie right here. You got to love Toby. Look at this guy. So adorable. All right, so what are the beasties, video?
All right, so courage comes in all shapes and sizes. And here we see Toby, a very young survivor who's made it in the house somehow. He befriends beasties in Duskmourn. Beasties are what used to be pets in Duskmourn, but when the house grew and became cursed, it also cursed the beasties. So that's why they have a lot of masks. You would be scared of what's under there. So they've been transformed as well, but because they were pets and beloved by humans, they still hold that loyalty to humans in Duskmourn. So they might be your friend if you see one. They might protect you. And on the other treatment, we see what's going on inside the mind of Toby. Because your courage is the action in the middle of fear. So we're going to see this a few more times in the set.
Very, very cool. Yeah, that double exposure treatment is awesome. Let's move on to the next card. And Annie, I want you to tell me a little bit about Nowhere to Run and kind of the idea of using enchantments here in the set.
Sure, yeah. So Nowhere to Run is just an uncommon, but it says a lot about the set, actually, because this spell, when you look at it, is a removal spell. Usually this would be on an instant, right? But in Duskmourn, it's on an enchantment, because you could say enchantments do matter in this set. You've seen a bunch of cycles of ley lines already. And so enchantments, we thought were a really good fit for capturing this lingering feeling of like something impacting the battlefield, like turn over turn, changing the rules, like this one like turns off hexproof, right? And so there's something about enchantments that just alters the game, makes you feel like something's a little off, that we felt fit Duskmourn pretty well.
Yeah, all you looking for an answer to ward, here's a card for you. You play it down, you kill a creature, it just sticks out in play, causing trouble for your opponent. You mentioned enchantments there. Let's go on to the next card, which is something that you all are not feeling right now, being here at MagicCon Amsterdam, and that is the fear of missing out, or FOMO perhaps. So it's an enchantment creature, and it has Delirium. So tell me, there's a lot going on here. We got enchantment creature, we got Delirium. Are those things we're going to see a lot of in this set? JD, fill me in.
Yeah, definitely. Delirium is one of the mechanics. We will see a good deal of Delirium in the set, and there's enough enchantments to make it possible to achieve.
Right, so the enchantment creatures, they die a little bit easier, and then, oh, you've got 2 card types in your graveyard. How perfect, how perfect. Now, a video, tell me about the way this is structured. It's a nightmare called Fear of Missing Out. Are there more fears like this? What can we expect in this set?
Yes, we have fear of flying, fear of falling, fear of losing your teeth. There's a lot of fears in the set. We spent a lot of time designing it. I spent, I think, a whole week sketching out how it would be with another artist, Esther Wu. Fears, what they do is, if you are sleeping, because even when you're sleeping in Duskmourn, you have to watch out, mate. If you have a strong nightmare, the personification of that nightmare will take your soul. And that's the screaming faces that you see there, the screaming souls of careless dreamers. you really need to be careful here in every state of consciousness. I have a ton of favorites. It's probably my favorite type in the card set as an artist.
I'm sure our audience will sleep soundly tonight knowing that, everything's going to be just fine, right?
I'll just try not to have a nightmare,
Well, let's hear a little bit about the characters we're going to find here, because of course you need a cool cast of characters for this kind of horror setting. So a video set the stage for us. Who are we going to be seeing here in Duskmourn?
Well, we're going to see the Wanderer. I think cue to the next one. The Wanderer, she sees a portal open with unique motifs. Pay a lot of attention to all the little decoration details. They're giving you a clue which plane this is going to. And again, we see the TV static. The Wanderer, of course, can afford to be brave enough to cross that. And she comes into the other side. And of course, what she does is cue the next start. She starts slashing through every horror she finds here. One of the bravest characters in this set.
Tell me about her costuming a little bit. So she's kind of got an updated look here, yeah?
Yes, the recurring characters here got an updated costuming. As I said before, we're inspired a little bit more of the modern stuff. And so we updated the Wanderer's costume. It's a little more streamlined. It's sleeker lines, but it still feels very much like the Wanderer.
Okay, well, I think you all like the Wanderer. How about a preview card for the Wanderer? Okay, let's go ahead and see this one. And Jadine, tell me about the Wandering Rescuer.
I gotta start with the card type. Legendary creature, not a planeswalker. The Wanderer desparked after the events of March of the Machine and captured here on Duskmourn for the first time as a legendary creature card. So we kind of had the opportunity to go back to the roots of like who the Wanderer is, capturing her for the first time as a creature. And she's a warrior. She's all about protecting her friends. And here on Duskmourn, where Survivor is critical, that's a lot of what we leaned into on her card. The ability to fight, she's got double strikes, she's strong. And she also has this wonderful protective ability, keeping the whole party safe.
Now she has Convoke. Is there a lot more Convoke in Duskmourn?
There is not. This is very seldomly used in Duskmourn, basically just this card.
Okay, so just something special for the Wanderer. Makes a lot of sense.
Definitely.
And she's got some cool alternate treatments. Let's take a look at those up here on the screen. Lots of cool versions of the Wanderer to go ahead and get. I know I want to collect that one there in the middle. I think it looks awesome. So we've got the Wanderer who's here, of course. Who else is cracking skulls in Duskmourn?
Well, Tyvar gonna show up, That he loves. I think he's the only person having fun here. Everyone else is a little scared, has to be a little courageous. He's like, nah, I'm just gonna smash. So, pretty fun card, pretty fun art.
All right, let's see the next character.
And the great Kaito here. They're all looking for Nashi.
Oh, Nashi.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully they find Nashi fast. Let's go on to the next character you'll be able to find.
And Zimone. I remember reading that, yes, people, the kids from Strixhaven should show up here. It's kind of resonant. So here we got the smartest person from Strixhaven showing up in Duskmourn.
All right, how about another character we have not seen in a little bit? Nico
Aris. The most courageous. That's why we put that little light on the shard. It's a person who keeps it together in this whole party.
Well, speaking of the party, special guests are back here in Duskmourn. So these are cards that are not standard legal, but are cards you will probably want to own, like this next one that shows everyone kind of hanging out together, a reprint of Collected Company. So you'll be able to get to this featuring some of the characters from Duskmourn all hanging out together, defending themselves, drop them into play, get some creatures off of it. It's a good time. But it's not all, of course, returning characters. There are some new people we'll find here, too. Tell me about who we're about to see up here next on the screen.
Well, it's Winter.
Looks friendly.
Well, he actually helps our friends out, Winter is one of the survivors. He is a native to Duskmourn. But you can see that surviving here has taken a little bit of a toll. He's a survivor at any cost. Winter was kind of our handsome character from the very beginning, popular even before we started commissioning art. Everyone was just really excited to have him in the set.
Well, let's see some of the people that are, kind of kicking around this plane, just the denizens. Let's go on to the next one here. Reluctant Role Model.
Yes, this is another survivor painted by the great Chris Wallace. Great painting, and as always, I recommend keep your eyes peeled. There's a symbol on the door. There's a little static on the window in the background. There's a little moth sconce over there, so pay attention to the details. Once you get to see the full set, stuff will start coming together.
Yeah, let's see some of the more art here, because it is awesome. Here's the diversion specialist.
Yep. Very strong survival. If you're here and you're alive, you're probably very, very strong or very, very lucky. Luck is on short order in Duskmourn.
For sure. Yeah, you're going to need a bunch of good friends to be able to help you out here. Like the most valuable Slayer, a good person to have around. Also got to say, that is the perfect artist name for this set.
Oh, yeah, Patrick Hell.
Incredible. Let's go on to the next one here. I think we've seen this one before, right?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on, though. No.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he looks like he's in trouble, though. Uh-oh.
Yeah, next one.
Yeah, let's go on. Let's see another Magic card. Here is Doomsday Excruciator. Mono Black Devotion fans, that is a mana cost for you. Jadine, what's happening here?
So Doomsday Excruciator, clearly riffing on old Magic card Doomsday. We know Doomsday as this really combo-centric card. You put it in your deck to win the game. Referencing kind of the roots of Doomsday. The game is ending soon. We don't have that many cards left. The time is coming.
Yeah, and 6 black mana symbols in the mana cost. And then we've got this mirror monster treatment here too, right? A video? Anything cool going on there?
Well, this is very much inspired in the types of movie shots that happen in a lot of horror films. I saw around 200 horror films in preparation for this set. I watched a lot. So my sleep was not very good for kind of 6 months, But the type of shot where you see the villain coming through a reflection, it makes it really scary because you have the subjective point of view. I carefully studied the type of shot that the best horror directors maximize in their work. A lot of giallo cinema too.
All right, let's see another preview card right here. The Screaming Nemesis. Annie, earlier you talked about kind of long-lasting effects in this set with the enchantments. This is another kind of long-lasting effect.
Yeah, this guy's pretty gnarly. I don't have much to add.
Yeah, it is. JD, I know you worked on this one a lot in play design too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, I just love this card. It puts your opponent in this spot, You're escaping the house. You're looking for a way out. The Screaming Nemesis is in your way. Maybe you get out. Maybe you're okay. The house might still permanently change you. You can't gain life forever. Sometimes even escaping has its ramifications.
Yeah.
Whoa, spooky. Well, let's see something maybe a little bit lighter on here. So yesterday, if you were paying attention, we showed off of some of what we're calling Japan showcase cards. They have this really cool treatment. I love, love, love the art style on these. They're absolutely lovely. Check out Overlord of the Boiler Bilges, Enduring Innocence, Enduring Courage, Enduring Curiosity. These arts are really wonderful. And we also showed off something new within these Overlords, a mechanic called Impending. Now, there was no reminder text on that card, and people have been speculating for the last day as to what's going on here. So if we go on to the next slide here, Jadine, tell us what Impending is.
All right. For the first time, Impending is a new mechanic. It appears in Duskmourn as a mythic cycle. So it's 5 cards with Impending. They're all enchantment creatures. You have a choice. You can play this creature, upper right-hand corner mana cost. Great, you've got your creature. Or you can pay the Impending cost, in which case you have an enchantment for a certain number of turns. So it functions kind of like Suspend. A few turns later, you'll transform into a fully fledged creature, and you'll be able to get access to your attack trigger. Optimists out there might think about how you're going to have that enchantment. It's on the battlefield. If you need to do something with an enchantment, if you have some enchantment synergy, it's there already. You don't have to wait for that. That is already there. cards are very cool. They do a great job of evoking kind of the suspenseful feel of the haunted house set. You know, Duskmourn is very scary. You don't know what's waiting around the corner, and you're kind of always waiting for the other shoe to drop, for your opponent's impending card to tick down and start attacking you.
All right, so 5 mythic impending overlords. And yeah, you can check out all the cool treatments here. The regular all the way on the left, all the way to that fracture foil version of the Japan Showcase card. Really cool. And let's see the next slide here. And we're going to see some glimmers here with these enduring cards. Tell me what the glimmers are doing here in video.
So in the middle of all this horror, in the middle of all this monstrosity, there are elements of hope. So glimmers are personification of people's hope in the mansion. Sometimes they'll guide you through and show you safe passage. They're always mysterious, and you keep chasing them. We'll see that in a few of the arts. In here, we're giving them the glimmers like showcase, but they interact. Just like the beasties, they're kind of a good force, but at the same time, very mysterious.
And JD, there's a cycle of this kind of card, right?
Yep, absolutely. Internally, we had the inspired name dies into enchantment cycle. You have this effect on a creature. Your opponent gets rid of it once, no big deal. I still have access to my cool effect I built around. Very fun cards. We really enjoyed playing with them.
Okay, well, that's a bunch of cool cards from the main set. But who out there loves Commander? Commander fans? I thought so. Well, Annie, you led the Commander decks for Duskmourn. Walk us into what we should expect from them.
All right, so we have a set of 4 decks led by 4 fantastic characters. First up is an Esper deck led by Aminatu, who has this awesome, unique power suite. And I hope we do it justice in this enchantment deck that also features the miracle mechanic. Next up is Winter, marquee character from the main set, showcasing Delirium with a black-green deck. Then we have Simone, again from the main set, with a new card here, themed to Jump Scare, which is all about casting things at instant speed. It also has a new mechanic that we haven't even shown yet in it, so surprise. Last but not least is our big bad guy, Valgavoth, leading up a black-red deck that we playfully call Group Slug. It's like when you deal damage to everyone all the time. You're like the bad guy at the table.
So you had an idea for this set of decks in particular. Of course, there's 4 decks. They all work great on their own. But you came to me one day and you're like, I've got an idea that can make these decks really awesome if we bring something back. And what is the thing that we're bringing back?
The thing we are bringing back is Archenemy. So some of you may know the phrase Archenemy when you sit down at a commander table and someone starts, popping off. They got their combo going. You go, hey, guys, we got to team up. That guy's the archenemy. But it's also an alternate Magic format, a multiplayer one. So I felt there was no better place to bring it back than with the Commander set. So similar to when we brought back Plane Chase with Mom, these decks are entirely standalone with Archenemy being like an added fun bonus. Yes.
And there's a bunch of new schemes here too, right?
Yeah, I think there's over 30 new schemes, a couple reprinted ones. It just felt really fitting for Duskmourn, as we do have that iconic bad guy here with a ragtag group of survivors that team up to defeat him.
Yeah, let's see an art piece here that you'll find on one of the schemes. And if you've never played Archenemy before, it's kind of a 3-on-1 game is the idea. So one player plays the big bad guy Archenemy, and the other 3 try and work together to take them down. So here is Dark Wings, Bring Your Downfall. You gotta love the names on these ones, right?
Yeah,
Amy?
a ton of these feature Valgavoth, or like his machinations within the house.
Well, let's actually see a scheme, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about it. Here's one of the brand new schemes, I Will Savor Your Agony.
Yeah, so these schemes are going to be oversized cards. They're going to do really powerful free things because the archenemy gets to play one every turn for free. And so this card is particularly useful because you can use it at any point in the game. If it's on turn 1 and they have no creatures, why not draw a bunch of cards? So.
And let's see another scheme just to get those awesome schemes out there.
And again, this
Time bends to my will.
Just leans into really fun, powerful effects. Everyone loves taking extra turns. It's one of the most powerful things you can do, and so we made another extra turn scheme.
So you can totally play these decks, of course, on their own, but with Archenemy, I feel like it's really, you're at home in Duskmourn, right?
Yes, and anyone can act as Archenemy here. Like maybe Zimone's the traitor or whatever. But honestly, if you fight against Valgavoth, you're in for quite the ordeal.
Well, incredible. Let's take a look at the full product shot here for Duskmourn. A lot of really cool stuff coming out. We got the boosters there. Got the Nightmare Bundle, pre-release packs, all kinds of incredible things coming with Duskmourn. And here are some key dates you can expect up on the screen here in just a moment. Notably, we're going to have the debut at PAX West in Seattle, so kind of returning there, which is exciting. And 13 days of Duskmourn, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. But those are some of the dates you can expect. Another thing you can keep your eye out for is you can go pre-order Duskmourn right now and go get a cool sleeve for Arena. So check that out. Start getting that in your Arena client. And one more thing, there's a buy a box promo we want to show off to you all. This cute little thing. It's, once again, probably harmless. Wouldn't worry about it. Something really, really cute there. So that is it for Duskmourn. Lots of really exciting stuff hitting there. And in a moment here, we're going to go into Bloomburrow, and to kind of take us between the two, we've got kind of the darkness of Duskmourn and the brightness of Bloomburrow. We've got a fun little video to show you all. Let's take it away.
We are so excited to learn about the upcoming Magic sets. Bloomburrow is just so cute and cuddly. I cannot wait to explore.
A never-ending haunted house.
That's Duskmourn. Bloomburrow has raccoons, mice,
Inescapable horrors on a plane you've never seen before.
cute, fuzzy ones. It's gonna be awesome. We have boxes.
Sinister creatures living in the walls.
Not in the walls, but creatures banding together to protect their valley.
Sneaking up on unsuspecting humans.
Nope, it's only animals. Otters, frogs, lizards, all kinds of food and treasures.
FOMO.
Oh,
The physical manifestation of the fear of missing out.
I don't even know what that is.
So whether you love cute and cuddly or scary horror or both, these Magic sets are going to have plenty for you. And so let's dig into exactly what's going on with Bloomburrow. Now, I want to kind of give you a heads up. This is a little teaser of what to expect, maybe something to whet your appetite for the debut, which is coming in just a couple weeks, but something to kind of just get you excited for Bloomburrow and kind of the flavor and the world that we've brought to you here. Because Bloomburrow is a really lovely set, when you say, video.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved it. It looks beautiful. It was a nice change from Duskmourn.
It is quite a bit of a different vibe. And here is a wonderful art piece kind of showing all these animals teaming up together. There's so many different types there. You got a frog, you got a bat, you got a mouse. You guys are adorable.
My dear friend Zach Stella was the lead art director for this one, and he hit all the right notes. It was just amazing to see this set come to life. I even painted, when he was doing it, I was like, hey, can you let me paint over it? Please, please, please. He let me paint over it. So super excited for people to see some of this.
All right, well, let's just see a few cards. How about some Bloomburrow cards, right? And once again, just something to whet your appetite, perhaps. Something that might be a little yummy, something you might want to eat, like carrot cake. Unlike Duskmourn, just a piece of carrot cake. It's delicious.
Bloomburrow is full of little slices of life, of the daily life that these little cute critters, of course there's going to be conflict, but there's a little warmth in there.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of cute critters, like also on this next card. You'll see some otters with a pearl of wisdom. That's really lovely. Just a little, draw some cards, you got an otter, it's great. And then the next card, we see some of the conflict going on here with early winter. It's a little different than the conflict we see in Duskmourn.
Yes, the conflict is small scale, but the stakes are still big. And here we see one of the mouse folk.
Yeah, and kind of what's going on a little bit with the conflict in this set.
Well, there's this thing called the calamity beasts, and they bring about changes in the environment. And they're, of course, a little too large for all our little friends, so they're going to have to band up together to fight against them.
All right, well, let's see the next card here. And maybe you'll see another one of these calamity beasts with that huge snake, Might of the Meek, just trying to take on that enemy there. It cares about mice. So there's some type mattering going on here. JD, tell me about the type matters in the set.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bloomburrow is a set about the creature types. Each of the color pairs in Limited is about one of 10 different creature types, and that's the mechanical foundation of the set. The cute little animals are the stars of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. You get to play with the fun little types in your deck. I love that. See the next card here. Sun Shower Druid, a nice little frog druid. Amazing type line. You got to love the frog druid. And speaking of all those different creature types kind of working together and the 2 color pairs, let's take a look at 5 lands here that kind of really get into that. And JD, and tell me kind of what's going on with these lands and the different types and how they're spread across them.
All right, so I guess I'm going to do some math live for an audience here. If I have 10 creature types distributed, they're each in 2, so we're up to 20. All right, so each monocolor is going to have 4 creature types associated with it for each of the color pairs. So if you look at the villages here, we have these lands that are supporting all of the creature types in that color. You can read them there. If you want to know what color pair each of the creature types are, you can cross-reference between the 2. I see mouse on the white village. I see mouse on the red village. Mice are white-red in Bloomburrow. That's all there is to it.
Oh yeah. While each creature type does have its own color pair, there is a lot of blending together, right? Like that's what these lands support, because the creatures aren't really going at each other's throats. They are teaming up to fight off those calamity beasts.
Yep, everything works together really well. Your decks aren't going to be all mice, but they will have a lot, and some other types to help them out.
And when you draft, your deck doesn't have to be all mice, right? These lands help. Okay, you got some other types rolling around in there, no problem. Let's see the next card here. This is a very cool swan hanging out here, both the regular version right there, and also this showcase woodland treatment. You want to say anything about this video?
Well, as again, the Booster Fund team is just like knocking it out of the park all the time, and with the art style too, because it feels like storybook. It feels like you're reading a story to someone, like the time of fables,
All right, well, let's go on to the next here. And this is a card you've seen before. This is just a promo that you'll find in WPN stores. It's a card from a previous Modern Horizons set, Ravenous Squirrel. Of course, Squirrel's back in Bloomburrow, so it's fun to have a little promo card there that kind of kicks into what's going on. So let's see, we've covered Magic the Gathering Foundations, we've covered Duskmourn, we've covered Bloomburrow. So much fun stuff. Anything else you all want to say before we take off today?
Just so excited about these sets coming up. They're going to be great. I hope you all love them.
Yeah, I hope you guys try out Arch Enemy. I think it's really fun and very good for introducing people to Magic too, because you work as a team.
I'm looking forward to playing Duskmourn versus Bloomburrow at some point. Drafting it.
It should be a lot of fun. And so you'll be able to find a lot more about Bloomburrow in just a couple weeks in the debut. And also a little sneak peek of the Planeswalker's Guide to Duskmourn is going up early, so stay tuned to that on our website. Now that's everything for today.